Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Mila and today I'm gonna analyze voyeurism, digital voyeurism. What does this even mean? So we would think voyeurism as someone looking at someone else having a sexual intercourse, but these days I'd say voyeurism can be seen as, people peeking into personal lives of other people and, social media accounts, specifically Instagram, TikTok, and whatever else. It's very easy to do that because now we have all the resources to do that. A lot of people have open profiles. So I'm gonna try and analyze behavior of people who do this kind of behavior, who have this kind of behavior, who implement digital voyeurism, okay? Who am I going to discuss in this video? Men who are constantly having a sneak peek at Instagram models and other accounts, men who are looking into accounts of their exes, women who are looking into accounts of their exes, men who you might have been on a date once or twice, same with women whom you might have been on a date once or twice, right? Let's say your old classmates that you are not in contact with, who you do not follow, for instance. And I think that should be it. And obviously, family members who you do not speak with, who choose to look into your profile, right? Now, these days, we have so many options to do that. We have all these apps, right, that they can help you check the accounts. And so let's begin. So in general, it's not just curiosity. It's usually an expression of unsatisfied need or some inner conflict, some pain or unfinished business. Could be also comparison, right? That is related to inner conflict. One, let's start with exes. Why would your ex be stalking you? Why would it could be, an ex, it could be could be like a short relation, what do they call it? Situationships, that's right. Why would they do that? Reason one is they want to feel, they have this sort of like subconscious hope. They have this hope that the connection is still alive, even though it's not. And so when they go into your profile and they can see what you're doing and what you're getting up to, for them, it's like, in a way, it's also control, like they being in control by knowing what is it that you're doing, where you are, where you're at, what's happening in your life, right? But so it's not just control, it's because they have this fear of sort of like complete loss. They have this fear of loss. They cannot grieve. Possibly they can't grieve, they haven't gone through that grieving period, or you might be watching who's experiencing this, right? What happens to you is that you have not grieved, you have not let go, you might have been fixated in the trauma of abandonment because you might have gone through the trauma of abandonment when you were a child, right? And so you might have been, you're like fixated in that trauma, in that feeling. And you're scared to let go completely, because that will make you feel completely, might make you feel empty, might make you feel hopeless, might make you feel lost or helpless even, right? So when you cannot grieve something like that, right? When you cannot grieve over your previous relationships, you can't go through that experience. It probably means that you experienced something like that in childhood where you might have lost that object, but you might have not grieved through that. And grieving is such an important piece in healing, right? In letting go and healing, that without it, you're just absolutely unable to let go, and your mind just keeps going back and back and back, and you're in a loop. You cannot stop. You always need to be in control that person is still there. It's there, it's in a way, it's almost like you're staying in control of the situation, of your pain. You're in control of your pain, but really you're not. But for you to go and see that person's, your ex's profile, it's like you're still sort of like connected to this whole story, right? Now let's go on to the most common problem that I hear from my friends, my girlfriends, friends who are women, is they tell me that they went on one date and they never heard back from this person. And what happened is that this person has followed them, but never really followed up, never wrote a message, never gave a phone call, just disappeared into the thin air, yet still looking at all the posts and stories. What happens there? What is going on there? It's a similar story with the first story that I told you. It's about control. It's something like, if I see you, I control you. In a way, it's like a power trap. It's an ego trap where that person, it's almost like it's very manipulative, it's very dark, it's controlling, it's like, I see you, but I do not communicate with you. And they don't feel any shame. There's zero shame on their end, which is just incredible, isn't it? So I'm going to tell you this example. When a baby looks at a mother, in a way, the babies, they have this magical thinking, right? They think, if I'm looking at the mother, she is there. I can control her. She exists. But then imagine the mother disappears and then the baby falls into instant anxiety and just completely loses it, right? So controlling through your vision, controlling through your eyes, right? It's like you're controlling someone through what you see. It's like, I see you, you exist because I'm looking at you, therefore I can have control over you. So it's super dark. There's an ego that's so inflated, but the inflated ego doesn't talk about healthy self-esteem. Inflated ego talks about extremely low self-esteem that's on the ground because the person cannot communicate. The person might be fearing responsibility, true vulnerability, connection, right? Might be, sometimes it's easier for people to disappear because they don't want to make another person uncomfortable. And I often, the thing is, I often hear this story after my girlfriends, they tell me, how I was on a date, and then I always ask them, okay, did they try to make out with you? Did they try to seduce you, to take you to bed, basically? And they normally say yes. And so it doesn't really surprise me when I hear a story from them when they tell me, oh, that man offered this to me and I didn't go with it, and now he's just following me and he doesn't say anything. And to me, it's it's not surprising. It's almost a way of punishment. It's like, I punish you, I see you, I validated you on that first date. I might have paid for your dinner, I might have given you compliments, but you didn't sleep with me. So hi, you don't sleep with me, I'm gonna show you that I'm looking at you, but I'm not gonna say a word. Not cool, really not cool. If you're stuck in this situation, I'd say block. Because if you're kind of feeling that this person is taking your energy just by looking at you, and sometimes, and a lot of the times, you will feel like someone is consuming your energy just by looking at your life. Sometimes you can almost feel that. The best solution for me, block that person. If you feel uncomfortable, just block them. Don't try to be, a Buddha and be like, oh no, I'm not gonna block him because I don't want to show that I'm bothered. I don't want to come across like that. I am better than this. No, in the end of the day, you're hurting yourself. Another thing that I see my girlfriends doing is that, oh, now I'm gonna show him how amazing I am, and he will contact me. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Trying to earn his approval and earn his, validation and approval is pretty much the same thing. So you're trying to earn that attention by doing whatever, by being your best self and whatever. You don't need to. This person doesn't deserve that. You're just putting your energy into empty air. You're just throwing it in the bin. You don't need to prove anyone your worth. Just because that person had an ego trip because you didn't do what he wanted doesn't mean that it doesn't talk highly about him. It actually speaks volumes about a guy like that who would do something like this, especially if you separated on a bad note, especially if you had some kind of conflict, or something left unsaid, unspoken. Sometimes we go through, and this happened in my life too, right? Where I had people who projected things onto me. It was, men and women, and they projected, I would say they projected their mothers onto me. And so, when I feel so much pressure, in psychoanalysis, it's called love, I think countertransference or transference, countertransference, I think it's called. If you're interested, read an article by Otto Kennenberg, and that article is just gonna blow your mind and you will understand things really well. And so when that happens, when someone projects so much onto you, you cannot handle it because you understand that they don't see you as a person anymore. They see you as something else, someone else to satisfy their needs. And so that is not okay, right? That's, or they like push you away because they projected their mother object, and then they push you away because they want to really push away their mother, right? And then, but I will not tolerate this behavior. I do not like welcome projections in my personal life. I do not, in therapy, project all you want, no worries. But when you project things onto me in my personal life, that is not acceptable to me and for me. And so therefore, I have to say goodbye to these people. But when the projection is still left there, right, then it's kind of like I disappear like that object with their projection in me. And so therefore, you know, for them, it's like a narcissistic wound. You know, they're so afraid to be forgotten because it's not just me, you know, it's not about me. It's like, it's almost like their mother who has forgotten them in a way. It's very complicated, okay? It's very super complicated. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but why it could be painful for some people that they would start, you know, spying on your account is because sometimes people need validation. So they need like, if let's say I'm beautiful if you see me, right? Or I exist if you react to me. And so sometimes they try to, you know, somehow get your attention, right? What about people? Let's talk about people who you don't know, who all of a sudden appear on your social media. For instance, it happens to me because my social media is open on YouTube. I open my social media because I'm a therapist and I want people to come to me for therapy and listen to my content. So I open it up, right? It's sort of like the same story with men looking at Instagram models, right? Or bloggers or whatever. It's the same story. It's like they want to feel like they have access to you. You cannot imagine how many men, like I have a girlfriend and she is like a blogger and she has lots and lots of followers, right? You cannot imagine how many DMs she's getting that men are trying to get a hold of her. Obviously she's not responding, but it's just the fact that they want to like get touch her. They want to come closer to her because to them, you can be an idealized object. They could be idealizing you, putting you on a pedestal. And when someone idealizes someone, they want to merge with that idealized object to feel better about themselves. So people with low self-esteem, it's not even low self-esteem. I hate the word low self-esteem. Like low self-worth, like they don't feel good about themselves, right? They might be trying to do something like this. They might be trying to get in touch with you. They don't even know you. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you are, but they try and contact you and they look and they spy and they comment and they watch your stories and they want to be really involved in your life because you are an idealized object. An idealization. Why would someone idealize? Because it's easy that way. They're not able to see reality. We idealize when we don't want to face reality. We idealize because we cannot feel better on our own. So we need to idealize someone else, connect to that someone else, and then feel better about ourselves. Do you get what I mean? I hope you do. Comment below if you understand what I'm talking about. Now, some people, they could be so triggered by you or exes who have not let go, who have not grieved that feeling, did not go through that feeling. So they know they might be painful to watch them because there could be resentment left. When there's resentment, okay, when someone is resenting you or when you're resenting someone, that means you have an inner conflict. It doesn't talk about them, it talks about you. Your resentment talks about you. Their resentment talks about them. So when you resent someone, that person, it's almost like that person is bringing you pain, right? It's you feel that pain, but you don't understand, well, what is this? So for some people, it's like a ritual, like a masochistic ritual to look at someone and feel pain. Because think about it like this, like if you're looking at your ex's account and you can see how happy he is and you keep going there and you keep looking at it, obviously you're not gonna you're stuck in that cycle and you're just being a victim and you're just wanting to feel bad about yourself, instead of completely separating yourself from it, letting it go, accepting everything that happened, you keep going there again and again and again to it's almost like it becomes like a enjoyable masochistic ritual. Why would someone act like a masochist? Because in childhood, you know, a child might have been only seen when the child has been, some parents only, you know, look at their children when the child is suffering. If the child, if everything is good with the child, they do not support the child. They could even distance themselves because everything is fine, doesn't matter. But they only give attention to the child when something is wrong, when something is happening. So, you know, sometimes people feel like I am only loved through guilt, through pain, through being a victim. So usually it's this whole stalking thing, it's a fixation. It's not just perversion. Yes, it is perversion because technically you're looking at someone's life without their approval, right? And again, that's what social media is. It's like you're telling people, hey, you can look at my life. I'm giving you like, it's either like I'm approving it, or even if I don't approve it, you can still take a look at it. So it is slightly perverted, the fact that, but the thing is, just because someone else's profile is open, it doesn't mean that you have to go and look at it. I know it sounds weird because what's normal, you know, has completely blurred. The lines have been blurred. It's not like nothing is black and white anymore, and it's just like, what's normal? You know, we don't know what's normal. But I want to explain to you that it's perversion. Trying to, you know, check on other people's stories and pictures and whatever. It's a lot of the times it's like, especially if it's not like a blogger who you're interested to learn from, or who you're inspired by, right? Especially if it's someone that you know, then it is perversion in a way, because if you don't communicate and you just keep going there and checking their profile, it obviously talks about unfinished business and some type of fixation on that object. I can't really, on that person, okay? Sometimes you might be fixated on someone because you can't deal with the inner emptiness, because you letting go of that, it's like you opening up to that emptiness within you. And that is not something another person can fill that in. We feel our emptiness with so many different things, with people, with objects, with, I don't know, there's so many ways to fill in that emptiness instead of actually working on it. I think one of the reasons also why it's so difficult for people to, you know, unfollow others who they're not in a relationship with, friends, co-workers, or whoever else, right? And it's not just because of even like a conflict. It could be just, it could be just because you don't talk anymore. You know, it doesn't have to be necessarily a conflict. And so really, when you unfollow someone, when you stop looking at someone's life, it's like, it's the end. It's the end of our connection. It's a symbol of loss. It's like you're admitting to the fact that this object has been lost. And really what has not been let go of, it sort of like rots inside of you daily, more and more and more. Another reason why people do that is they don't want to live their life. They want to live yours. They like the way your life is, and because that person doesn't know what he wants or she wants, they doesn't know what they want to achieve, they don't know where they're going, they're completely lost, so therefore they need to see your life, so they feel like they're living your life. I think that's very simple. Anyway, what is voyeurism? Like digital, online, Instagram, for instance, TikTok, whatever, voyeurism, stalking. It's about loss and fixation. It's not about you, it's about them who are looking. That means they cannot let go of you or your idealized object, and they cannot meet themselves. They're lost. They are being a complete, you know, little sneaky narcissist, you know, who's trying to regain control, just kind of like stalking you without having to talk to you. And that is just super dark. And like I said, blocking is sometimes better than keeping them there. And we know, right? We people who create content, who post our lives, we know these things. We know about this. We can see sometimes, right? Like we see who's constantly there. It's not like we're blind. And I genuinely sometimes when I look at it, I feel sad for these people. It's usually men. And I feel sad for them. I feel like that they want access, but they know they can't have it. And it's like this, they're holding on to something that doesn't even exist in a way. And it's actually very sad. So it goes both ways. Honestly, it goes both ways. Normally, it's a sad story, and normally it's about, you know, the people who are looking into someone else's life. They're dealing with hardship and inner conflict and resentment and not being able to let go, being fixated on you, and not really knowing who they are and what they want out of life. That's how I see it. So I hope this made some sense, and leave me, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Maybe you can give me some ideas about online social media behavior maybe, and I could, you know, analyze it. I wanted to let you know that I have created an online course that is about the guide to being boldly yourself, right? How to show up online and in real life. How to be yourself, how to come to your senses, how to, you know, feelings of guilt and shame, and how to regain your sense of self, creativity, how to fix that internal conflict, how to come home to yourself, and much, much more. You can see it on my website. Once my website is ready, I'll leave the link below, and you can see all the details about the course, and feel free to join it. Also, you know, if you want therapy, you can reach out to me as well, and I'll be very happy to help you. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye-bye.